If there is one thing that most rideshare drivers can agree on, whether driving for Uber or Lyft, it is that the tipping in this industry sucks. What up, folks? Once again, it is your boy Tim with another ride sharing video. Now, this one is a little bit of a critique on another Uber content creator that I have a lot of respect for. Nevertheless, I saw one of his videos today and I'm like, I don't know. The rideshare professor, highly respect his content. He does a hell of a lot on the ride sharing business, suggesting that there is a method to significantly increase your tipping potential, or the amount of tips you receive as a driver. Now, the advice he gives is fairly simple. Get out the damn car, help passengers with their bags, luggage, hold the door open for them, things of this nature. And if you do this, you will notice a handsome uptake in the amount of tips you receive. Why the hell would I disagree with this? Because I strongly believe that your the amount of tips you receive depends less on what you do as opposed to who you are doing it for. The point I'm trying to make is this. If you're picking up low-income passengers all day, every day, you're not going to see a lot of tips no matter how much you're opening up the damn door. No matter how much you're helping people put laundry in your vehicle, or if somebody's moving in the middle of the night and you help them with all their boxes and things like that. If you are taking passengers to expensive concerts, maybe you're a rideshare driver in a highly tourist area like Las Vegas, yeah, you're going to see a hell of a lot of tips, because all of the people you're picking up are generally happy and looking to go spend money or enjoy themselves, more likely to tip, and they also tend to have more money. Picking up a passenger going to a $300 Beyonce concert, they probably got a little bit of income. Taking somebody to a woman's shelter at 2 a.m., she probably doesn't have a lot of income. So it depends on the quality of the passengers you're dealing with. That is first and foremost in regards to doing your equation on who you're going to get a tip from and how much of you're going to get. But also, I would add that unlike the taxi business, and the rideshare professor talks about, being a private driver, which I highly recommend. If you can get private clients, that is absolutely the way to go. And yeah, they're more likely to tip. The problem with Uber, though, the difference is Uber started this business off as a very low-cost alternative to the taxi business. I've said it in previous videos where I've been driving off and on since 2014, and when we originally started, they were telling passengers, you do not even have to tip at all. In fact, they were telling the passengers basically to not tip. And the drivers started out believing that it could be a cost to them as a driver. They could get disqualified from the app and not be able to drive at all if they even took tips from passengers. You literally had drivers that were afraid to accept cash tips. There was no way to tip through the app at all. So if you were a passenger trying to engage in a cashless transaction, which is what ride sharing is about, there was no way for you to tip. I've had passengers ask me to stop at an ATM because they weren't carrying cash so that they could tip me. I've actually had that. But I'll tell you, just for further proof myself, I started out in rideshare and went straight from driving cabs. Once I found that I could drive my own car, I went out and bought a nice car, Cadillac DTS, you see pictured here. And I even dressed the part. Got out and opened the door and every damn thing. Everything that he is suggesting, the rideshare driver is suggesting. And the tipping was just not there, because Uber had told the passengers, you don't have to tip. And they fought and operated this way for about 4 or 5 years. Up to about 2017, I think, is when they allowed passengers to finally tip through the app. But by then, the tipping culture had been destroyed. It would be like telling restaurant passengers, you walk into Olive Garden or Red Lobster and there's this big ass sign that convinces you that the waitress is not expecting a tip and you don't have to give them one. And you do that for 3 or 4 years, And then after that, you allow people to start tipping, and you'll notice the tipping culture in that business has dropped dramatically. Because in the taxi business, everybody tipped. If you wrote taxis in the 70s, 80s, 90s, everybody was tipping. Now it's changed because Uber wanted to give the passengers a trip at the lowest cost that they could come up with. And they pulled that out of our ass to make it happen. They're still doing it. They're still finding ways to continue giving passengers cheap trips at our expense. But I just wanted to run this by you because I disagree with the rideshare professor that if you start getting out the car and holding open doors and grabbing people's luggage, you're going to see this substantial increase in tips. It will result in some tips, and you should try to be as cordial and professional to your passengers as possible. But understand, there's a lot of people that are not going to tip you no matter what. I've even posted here an article that suggests that only 1%, a paltry 1% of Uber passengers say that they regularly tip the drivers. Only 1%. 60% of passengers in a poll stated they don't tip drivers at all. Never. And when you hear what the rideshare professor is talking about, he's talking about helping people with their luggage and their bags. Generally, people going to the airport. Like I said, folks who may have a little bit of extra money. But if you're dealing in the hood or you're dealing in low-income trailer parks and shit like that, good luck on that. Because you may get $1 or $2 occasionally, but just be prepared to find yourself disappointed helping passenger after passenger going above and beyond and not being tipped. I've made numerous videos about it because that is the way I started out, trying to provide a stellar service and seeing so many people not tip at all. I just want you guys to understand that. Now, the rideshare professor, he does have some type of course that he's promoting. I assume he's making a little bit of money off of that. So I'm not going to knock the man's hustle, but I believe that's why he's making a video telling you how to increase your tips, because he wants you to go check out his course or something like that. And more power to the guy. Got nothing but respect for him. But I don't agree with him that in this business as a rideshare driver, you're going to see a big bump in tips. It depends on who you're doing it for, not what you're doing. Like I said, if you're in highly tourist areas, dealing with high wealth clients, maybe. But if you're dealing with low income people, none of that shit's going to work. Let your boy know in the comments, though, who are you more likely to see tips from? Working blue-collar folks, poor people, wealthy folks, men in suits? Who are you more likely to see tips come from? Myself, I drive a lot of blue-collar working class around. For me, most of my tips have come from people going into jobs where they live off tips. Applebee's waitress is likely to tip. Picked up strippers, they're likely to tip because they know the value of tipping. But the business guy that's sitting behind a desk all damn day, making a paycheck every 2 weeks, they don't tip at all. They get in the vehicle and they're entitled as fuck. That's my experience. Let me know what yours is. It's your boy Tim. Subscribe to the damn channel. See you in the next video.